Hey guys, Eric Robinson here with the Eric Squared Circle Show. I just want to come on today to give you some of my initial thoughts on last night's edition of Raw. With 9 hours of programming each week, it can be tough to keep up with the goings-on of WWE and AEW. So each week, I'm going to try to do my best to offer some of my personal highlights from each show. For a more in-depth look at all of these topics, subscribe to the Eric Squared Circle Show on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So the first thing that stands out about Raw last night is the triple threat tag team match between the Viking Raiders, Angel Garza and Andrade, and Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. This tag team match was off the charts as far as something that you could expect for a Monday Night Raw. The stipulation was that the winner of this match would go on to face the Street Profits for the tag team titles at SummerSlam. So we are getting one major match set up here. Ultimately, Andrade and Angel Garza walk away with the win here. So it is confirmed that at SummerSlam it will be the Street Profits taking on Angel Garza and Andrade. There's a lot to like about this match as a whole. And really all of these tag teams, because we're seeing sort of this tag team renaissance in WWE, just kind of as a response to the COVID pandemic, ratings at all-time lows. It seems that Vince and Bruce Pritchard and co are finally getting the message that it's time to make some changes and it's time to elevate and give new talent a chance to shine. So to see all of these guys mixing it up in a clash like this for such high stakes, standout performances by everybody involved. The Viking Raiders are finally kind of starting to cement themselves as that dominant physical tag team on Raw. It took them a really, really long time to kind of get to that point, but now having had the matches and the vignettes that they've done with the Street Profits, it seems like they've finally gotten that credibility back that they had on the indies for so long, and they're finally starting to hit their stride and put it all together in WWE. Andrade and Angel Garza, led by Zelina Vega, are some of the best heels on the roster just across the board. Zelina Vega is probably the best manager in WWE right now, with what she has done and that X factor that she offers. And then, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the team of Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, a relatively new tag team as far as Monday Night Raw goes and the tag team division goes. But we've seen what these guys can do on their own. Ricochet, former North American champion, former United States champion. Cedric Alexander, former Cruiserweight Classic competitor, former Cruiserweight champion. They both have a lot to offer, and they have this very natural chemistry that has really exploded onto the scene very quickly. So while they were not successful in this match, we will start to see a little bit more from them, I hope. Because there's a lot to like about this tag team, and the fact that you throw the Street Profits in the mix, they have cemented themselves as the tag team of Monday Night Raw. And for anybody to get an opportunity against them, I mean, it's going to be must-see television. This would be no different here as far as their upcoming SummerSlam match with Angel Garza and Andrade. Perhaps the best thing that I can think of as far as the involvement of the Street Profits in this match last week is, the way that they came out to just, chop it up and have some fun with their Viking Profits counterparts a little bit before the match kicks off, and their involvement in commentary, the very much less is more approach, and still kind of taking that babyface move of scouting your talent before a big title fight. There's just so much to like about it, and I think that we're really in for an awesome match here at SummerSlam. Monday Night Raw was especially notable last night because there were a lot of returns, and you can see that there was a clear desire to begin pushing other talent. Vince has recently stated in conference calls with shareholders that he acknowledges that that's kind of something that needs to happen in order to try to turn the ratings ship around. So in the women's division, we saw the return of Nia Jax and Shayna Baezer. At this point, it's looking like these two are going to square off at SummerSlam potentially. And I'm really excited about this match, especially given how they kicked off this feud last night. A high-profile exchange of words, which we thought would lead to a match later on that night on Raw. But things happen. Nia Jax, storms to the ring like a seventh grader who just got their wheelie backpack kicked, and Shayna Baszler, sauntering in like a high school gym teacher, and dynamic between Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler is something that I think will do a lot of good to expose and get a 2 or 3 match program behind it, simply because both of these talents are extremely physical. We know that there are some concerns about Nia Jax being unsafe in the ring and being a little stiff at times when it comes to her shots. Shayna Baszler coming from the MMA background, this seems like this is something that generally shouldn't necessarily bother her. So we'll see how they decide to draw this feud out, especially because Nia Jax is somebody that has since she's made a return, she's worked as a heel, and Shayna Baszler is heel through and through and through. So it'll be interesting to see if this is just booked as a clash of just 2 badass women, or if they'll do the traditional babyface heel storytelling that they do. Only time will tell, but I think that whoever walks away from this program with the overall win should be in line to contend for the Raw Women's Championship, some point down the line. WWE Champion Drew McIntyre has been on a tear since winning the title at WrestleMania. Continued his work last night against Dolph Ziggler, following up on their clash at Extreme Rules. This time, Drew McIntyre got to pick the stipulation and pick the traditional Extreme Rules match. Kind of an underwhelming build to this match, and just kind of a week's notice before we found out that Drew was going to be able to pick this stipulation. So this match kind of was what it was, kind of your typical pay-per-view blow-off rematch. But the big story here was, if we can go back to the beginning of Raw last night, Randy Orton coming out and basically saying, I've beaten every legend that there is. I have no more challenges. I want the WWE Championship. And at this point, it's looking like we're going to get Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton for the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. And I think that this has the potential to be a very quiet, blockbuster main event here. Drew McIntyre, since becoming WWE Champion, has elevated that title and given it a prestige that we haven't seen in a long time from a consistent champion. And Randy Orton has been so far removed from the title picture for so long that he has, when you kind of look at what he's done since he has been in the picture last, he deserves it. I mean, his matches with Edge have been nothing short of spectacular this year. And if we can't get the trilogy I Quit match to finish that match off, or to finish that feud off, then, what better compensatory prize is there than a WWE Championship match with Drew McIntyre? And what's so great about this match and how they're going to tell the story is that Orton is always going to look like he can strike at any second and can take what he wants at any given second. And that's the beauty of how Randy works and how he's built this Legend Killer persona and the Viper persona that he's used over the years. And he's continuing this at this high skill rate, nearly 20 years into his run, and doing some of the best work that we've seen from him in years, especially because he's got the reputation of sometimes being a little laissez-faire and unmotivated when it comes to his performances and what he delivers on screen. But since the pandemic's begun, he has been just a force. And I don't know if that's because of the lack of fans and not having to deal with the crowd and the jeers when you're just trying to go out and do your job. It could be any number of things. But Randy Orton at this point, if they were to put the WWE Championship on him at SummerSlam this year, I can't say that I'd be terribly mad at it. So we'll see how this story progresses. Since we've just kind of gotten the announcement that this is where this is going to go, it is going to be really interesting to see how they follow up on this and can build a compelling Raw main event for SummerSlam. Thanks so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think in the comments about last night's Raw. If you have any questions for us, email us, ericsquaredcircle@gmail.com. Remember to subscribe to the full podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. Remember to subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on those notifications so that you can find out when videos like these are to drop.